Your life is going to be exactly the same except for the books you read and the people you meet. Here comes our next episode. What's up, everybody? JDew here from the Banking Bros at the Cash Compound and our affiliate partners over here, the Money Multiplier. We are helping you crack the code to cash flow. Wanted to come to you with a quick episode as we kick off our June 2022 to talk about the books that you read. Now, for the last several decades, we've been in the information age. Robert Kiyosaki says the information age came around 1989, if you're going with his numbers, around the time the Berlin Wall came down. And that information age opened up the era of what is now, obviously, the internet and the information going from here to there, my phone to yours, back down from satellites in lickety-splits times. And because of that, our knowledge around what we got, the wealth and moving information around that can help us build more wealth, build better wealth, and live better lives is going at rapid speeds. It's most easiest to think about the phenomenon of rapid information movement when we're talking about technology, of course. And that technology has brought us a lot of new challenges, and it has brought us a lot new opportunity as well. We're all here understanding that when we don't know how to use our phone or our computer, or even having a smart microwave or a refrigerator, helps us in certain ways, but then, sends us back to the Stone Age and others when things are not working the way they want them to, or we just can't figure it out. So we find some millennial or younger, some little kid to help us do those things. But we're going to talk about the age-old concept of the mass communication medium, the book. And, of course, our favorite around here, becoming your own banker, the foundational concepts for the infinite banking concept. And what Nelson Nash put in this book for us when he started to uncover what was going on inside whole life insurance policies and how they could be utilized for the person's life benefits, for cash, for financing around the 1980s, that is really changed the world and the financial lives of all the people who have been touched by this. We thank him for that, and we want to remind you that there's some other great books out there. I'll mention them really quick. The And Asset by Caleb Williams. There is, as the time of this recording, an opportunity for maybe one of us, Jonah or I, here at the Banking Bros, to actually speak at one of his Denver, Colorado events. There is What Would the Rockefellers Do? Okay, now I believe he's changed this because the Rockefeller Family Trust and offices have asked him to. But Garrett Gunderson is also going to be speaking at an upcoming event with Caleb, I believe. And now it's called What Would Billionaires Do, I believe. He's got new, I think this is probably the third version, because I believe this one that we have is already the second version. All right, we have got Life Without the Bank and Farming Without the Bank. And those are from Mary Jo Ehrman. She's up in, I believe, North Dakota, and I listen to her podcast as well, and she really helps folks who are in the agricultural space, farmers and ranchers, not that I know the difference between those two things, about the same foundational concepts for their style of business, farming and ranching, that Nelson Nash would have loved and approved of because he mentored her as well as these other guys that I just mentioned. And, of course, one of our favorites, the one that is with our partnership and our general agency partners at the Money Multiplier, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery, Step into the Secrets of the Wealthy by the money coach, Brent Kessler, and America's #1 money mentor, Chris Noggle. The reason I'm bringing up books today is not trying to sell you anything. You should go live like you're going to die tomorrow, but learn like you're going to live forever. So these books are jump-offs, spin-offs, their takes as practitioners of infinite banking and the infinite banking concept. And we love all of them. But we realized the time has come, ladies and gentlemen, to give you our own version. Who's ready for a book? Very soon we'll have an audiobook script and an ebook that you'll be able to get to and have access to over here at the Banking Bros and the Cash Compound. We're working on it right now over the course of the summer of 2022, and we're very excited to release it to you, at least in downloadable or audio or electronic form first, very soon. So it's probably coming before the summer is over. At least pre-order as well as reserve your right to utilize our information via download. So we're very excited for that. And the reason that we're coming to it is our approach has always been from day one, we're going to break down our idea of utilizing the infinite banking concept. We're going to break it down so the average regular person can understand it first. Doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily be right for everybody or they're going to be ready for it, because it's really a paradigm shift in the way you think. But we're going to make sure that they can understand what's going on. And we've always explained that now for the last year and a half, pretty exclusively through the 3-cup setup. We know many of you have seen that information, but we are also letting you know that as of June, we have now got a new online presentation that you can get to anytime. It's right at 1 hour, and that 1 hour can completely change your life. Because we've got in there the simple, fundamental steps of what's going on with your money, where it is now, and what could be happening in a better vehicle built specifically for you, grows favorably, accessible cash, tax favorability, legacy planning, all in one. Can you believe it? So that's what I wanted to let you know, ladies and gents, on a quick episode this week, that we have a book coming out over here at the Cash Compound and the Banking Bros. Remember, the Cash Compound is our library of courses. We want you to jump into those and keep learning. We've got accessible information at the Banking Bros through social media, and that's where we really do a lot of our learning platform opportunities to onboard people right now. Okay, so our learning platform opportunity is really to follow us on social. And we hope you like and subscribe this channel and our podcast and our YouTube and our social. So let's actually give our fan follow of the week this week to a very special group. Our fan follow of the week is going to the entire group who joined me last night on a TikTok live. Make some noise out there if you spent time wasting time or learning on TikTok. So our friends and family over there on at the Banking Bros joined me last night. This is last evening, so this would have been, like I said, early June. Who knows what day it is? I believe it was the 6th last night. Over the course of about an hour's time, 715 new people followed me while I personally went live and explained and answered questions one-on-one. We know that you guys have questions because everyone asks them. It's really in the same context. It's how much do I have to get started? What's the difference between this and other types of programs where I might store my money? And how can I use it as a banking system? How do I take loans? How do I pay them back? When, if do I pay them back, and all those types of things. So I couldn't believe it. We're having a lot of success over there. So we've been focusing, helping new people see old information right there on TikTok. 715 of you out there on the Banking Bros at TikTok. Welcome to the fam. And I hope you're listening to this. We appreciate you. Now for our next one, let's go for our comment of the week we're going to today. Here it is. It comes from a Thomas Zernick, or Tomas, over here on our platform of Instagram. So he's followed us, I think, in a couple places. But Thomas and I ended up having a long conversation because he wanted to do some questioning to me and comparison, potentially, on index and S&P investing as compared to banking. And I had to remind him at one point, because there's 101 things I don't know about investing. And of course, I want to learn like I'm going to live forever as well. So I had questions to ask him. But one of the takeaways that I just want to say now to you that I didn't say to him in a way that was is tell me what you got to know. But remember, or tell me the things I got to know. Tell me what you know. But you got to remember, my friend, that our banking system is not an investment. The banking system is where we deploy the money from. We have Wells and B of A and TD and Citi and Chase accounts out there. So do you. We're saying that there's a better place to save and store your money for the purpose of deploying it for the stuff that you want to do, maybe like investing. So he helped me see a few of his angles and points around investing in something like potential Roth IRA accounts out there. We know a lot of you have qualified plans and ask those questions, as well as things like S&P investing and what happens over time. It's totally fine, but Policies are not investments. They're not functions of interest rates. Okay, here we go. He said, I find it fascinating to pay someone interest to borrow your own money when you could have just invested that money in the first place and have 2 to 3 times in your own money that you don't have to pay someone interest to use. I guess that's the part that gets me. That is a fair question. That's a fair comment. That's a fair statement, however he's thinking about it in his mind. Now, here's the things that I want you to think about because you may have the same thoughts rolling through your brain. One is cash values are not your dollars. Cash values are equity, prepayments of the death benefit. It's a guaranteed amount of money that has to come out, but it is not mine. My dollars are still in the premium, compounding and growing, making my death benefits and cash values continue to grow larger and larger throughout my life while I still deploy them as cash value dollars. Remember, cash value is separate from premium dollars. So we are borrowing money that is not ours, that is growing and compounding because of ours. We're borrowing against our policies using cash values. Okay, so just make sure that's clear for everybody or clear for you for the first time. Okay, now he says, and here's where his comparison is. When you could have just invested the money in the first place and have 2 to 3 in your own money that you don't have to pay someone interest to use. And that's where there's a few things we've got to make sure we understand. Number one, you could have just invested the money in the first place. First place is you've got to create the money through your effort and through a job or whatever. You have income, you get the money. We're just talking about where you store it from first, not the lack of investing it. We think you should invest. If you're thinking that, hey, the rate of return on a policy, which is not a good way to think about things in a policy, but the rate of return on a policy is just not that great or that high, I'm going to ask and remind you, why are we using the policy as the investment tool? It's not. You should be able to invest and get more money than the policy is doing for you. The policy is the bank. We don't use the bank, the regular bank, the conventional bank that you have. We don't use the bank for investing. We use it to hold the money. But now we have a bunch of benefits and favorability by doing it there. So we're still going to use tax-free cash value dollars to deploy to get into other things. All right? And you could have just invested that money in the first place and have 2 to 3 times in your own money. So first off, the amount of money you might be able to get from the investment, who knows? There are averages out there. There are historical returns. There are no guarantees on the future. But sure, it's fine to look at those numbers. You should go get those. But remember, 2 to 3 or 2 to 300 times, that is in the investment tool that you choose, and there's risks associated with whatever you do, S&P 500 or anything else. So sure, it could be 2 to 3 times more, but we don't know that for sure, and we think you can go get that, but that's not instead of holding the money somewhere in an account that continues to grow for you. We're going to do both of these things. It's not an either or game. Jump into some of these books and remind yourself of that. When we use our money to be invested in a product or program out there, remember, and this is one of the things I had to talk to Thomas about and make sure he understood what I was saying, is if we take the investment growth, the potential investment growth or whatever's illustrated on the things he's showing us, and we need to use money, we have to pull it out of the investment. Or we have to borrow against that investment, which we could do in the case that he was showing me. We could borrow against it, but then we'd be paying someone else the interest rather than paying the interest back to ourselves. Remember, that's the entire encompassing program of becoming your own banker. It's not just become your own investment machine or something like it. Become your own banker. There's a process here, and the process starts with housing your money in the right place. And if you take and deploy money from that infinite banking policy, a customized whole life from a mutual company that pays dividends, built for cash, if we pay it back, it's going to make our own policy values larger. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, a reminder, keep reading, keep learning, because if you don't, you might get caught up on things that may or may not be true or may not be right, depending on who told you, where you found it out. So go back to the source. we suggest it's right here. Keep learning, keep thinking. Thank you for these comments. Thank you for all the follows. Thank you for the friendships that we're having here. And we look forward to serving you with our new book in the summer of 2022. Talk to you guys soon.